The horrifying end came for one of hockey's greatest legends when Mike Bossy died at just 65 years old from stage 4 lung cancer. But before we talk about his tragic final chapter, let's remember why this man was so special. Mike Bossy wasn't just any hockey player. He was the sharpshooter who helped the New York Islanders win 4 straight Stanley Cup championships from 1980 to 1983. He was the most efficient goal scorer in NHL history, and his story proves that sometimes the greatest talents come in unexpected packages. Born in Montreal on January 22, 1957, Mike Bossy's path to greatness started before he could even walk. His father, a Ukrainian immigrant, was so determined that his sons would become professional hockey players that he built a hockey rink in their backyard before Mike was even born. At just 2 months old, a toy hockey stick was placed in baby Mike's hands. By age 3, he was learning to strengthen his ankles with skates on. This early dedication paid off quickly. At 6 years old, Mike was already the best hockey player among his peers in Montreal's St. Alphonse parish. As a peewee, he did something that sounds impossible. He scored 170 goals in just 40 games. That's more than 4 goals per game. This incredible performance earned him a spot in the Minor Hockey Hall of Fame at age 12. When Mike joined the Quebec Junior Hockey League with the Laval Nationals at 16, something important happened that would define his entire career. Junior hockey was violent and full of fighting, but Mike made a choice. He decided he would focus only on scoring goals and avoid the physical confrontations. This decision came from his personal belief against violence, and it became the foundation of his success. The results were amazing. Over 4 years in junior hockey, Mike scored 309 goals and added 221 assists for 532 points. His 532 points remain a QMJHL record, and his 309 goals set the record for all of major junior hockey. You'd think these numbers would make him a top draft pick, but that's not what happened. The 1977 NHL draft became one of the biggest mistakes in hockey history. Despite his incredible scoring records, 14 teams passed on Mike Bossy. Scouts called him timid and not rugged enough for the NHL. They believed a player who wouldn't fight couldn't succeed at the professional level. This was the thinking back then. Teams valued toughness over pure skill. If you're enjoying this deep dive into hockey history, make sure to subscribe and let me know in the comments which overlooked draft pick surprised you the most. There have been so many talented players who fell through the cracks. The New York Islanders finally selected Mike with the 15th overall pick. Coach Al Arbour had a different philosophy than other teams. His famous quote explained everything. "I can teach a player to check, but I can't teach a player to score, and we need goals." This decision would change hockey history. Mike's first NHL season proved Al Arbour right immediately. He scored 53 goals in his rookie year, breaking the rookie record for goals. This performance earned him the Calder Memorial Trophy as Rookie of the Year. But even more important was what happened with his line mates. Mike joined center Brian Trottier and left wing Clark Gillies to form one of the most dangerous lines in hockey history. They called themselves the Trio Grande. Trottier was the brilliant playmaker, Gillies provided the physical presence and corner work, and Mike was the lethal finisher. Together, they proved that complementary skills could overcome the traditional emphasis on pure physical play. The Islanders' dynasty years were Mike's time to shine on the biggest stage. He was central to all 4 consecutive Stanley Cup championships from 1980 to 1983. In the 1981 playoffs, he set a record with 17 goals in a single playoff run and tied the record for most power play goals with 7. His most memorable playoff moments came in 1982 and 1983 when he scored the cup-winning goal in back-to-back seasons. Only one other player in NHL history has done this. His 1982 playoff performance was so outstanding that he won the Conn Smythe Trophy as the most valuable player of the postseason. During that run, he tied the modern record for most goals in a single playoff series with 9 against the Boston Bruins, including an NHL record 4 game-winning goals. What made Mike special wasn't just his goal-scoring ability, though. It was how he scored. He had a lightning-quick wrist shot that goalies couldn't prepare for. His hockey sense was almost supernatural. He could position himself perfectly in front of the net and release his shot without even looking up, as if he already knew where the puck would go. Brian Trottier once told a story that perfectly shows Mike's talent. Trottier threw him what he called the worst pass of his career, describing it as a bouncing grenade. Most players would struggle to control such a bad pass, but Mike instinctively controlled it, spun around, and shot it perfectly into the net. This wasn't luck. This was thousands of hours of practice on that backyard rink, shooting pucks at the same marks on a wooden board over and over and over, as Mike himself described it. Mike's playing style was built on speed and evasion. He developed methods to elude rather than have to confront opponents. This approach was controversial in an era when hockey's celebrated violence and fighting. Mike stood as a counter-narrative to the violent culture of 1970s and 1980s hockey. He was an outspoken pacifist who publicly denounced fighting in the sport. This position was extremely controversial at the time, but Mike stuck to his beliefs. The hockey world recognized his gentlemanly conduct by awarding him the Lady Byng Trophy 3 times, in 1983, 1984, and 1986. His convictions were tested in Game 1 of the 1980 Stanley Cup Finals against the Philadelphia Flyers. As he skated up the ice, he saw Flyers enforcer Mel Bridgman heading straight toward him. Instead of avoiding the hit or fighting back, Mike simply stood his ground and took the hit. He held true to his belief that fighting was pointless and insane. This moment showed that his peaceful stance wasn't weakness, but moral strength. Mike's statistical achievements are truly unmatched. Over his 10-season career, he scored 573 goals and 553 assists for 1,126 points in just 752 games. In the playoffs, he was even better, with 85 goals and 75 assists for 160 points in 129 games. His most incredible record is being the only player in NHL history to score at least 50 goals in 9 straight seasons. He shares the record for most total 50-goal seasons with Wayne Gretzky and Alexander Ovechkin at 9 each. In his second season, he scored 69 goals, which was the second highest single-season total at that time. Mike also achieved other remarkable milestones that showcase his scoring prowess. He became the second player in history to score 50 goals in 50 games, a feat that had only been accomplished by Maurice Richard before him. He was the fastest player to reach the 100-goal mark, doing it in just his 129th game. He was also the fastest to 500 goals, reaching that milestone in his 647th game. When you look at where Mike ranks among all-time great scorers, the numbers tell an incredible story. Mario Lemieux comes second with 0.75 goals per game, followed by early hockey legends Cy Dennany and Babe Dye, also at 0.75. Modern stars like Austin Matthews sit at 0.64, while Pavel Bure managed 0.62. Even Wayne Gretzky and Alexander Ovechkin, two of the greatest goal scorers ever, both averaged 0.60 goals per game over their careers. Most importantly, Mike holds the highest career goals per game average in NHL history among players with at least 200 goals. His average of .762 goals per game has never been matched. This efficiency record exists because his career ended early due to injury, preserving his peak performance without the declining years that typically reduce career averages. The tragic part of Mike's story began with chronic back problems that started affecting his play in his final season. He was limited to just 38 goals in 63 games, his lowest total since joining the league. The persistent pain forced him to miss the entire 1987-88 season, hoping rest would help him return. When his condition didn't improve, he was forced to retire in October 1988 at just 30 years old. His early retirement left hockey fans with one of the sport's greatest what-ifs. In a letter to his younger self years later, Mike reflected on this, advising, "Cherish your time more, because your time is going to be shorter than you think." After retirement, Mike stayed connected to hockey through media work. He became a radio personality and hockey analyst, working for MSG Network and later TVA Sports, a French-language network in Quebec. This second career let him share his knowledge and passion with new generations of fans. His insights were particularly valuable because he understood the game from such a unique perspective, having succeeded through skill and intelligence rather than intimidation. During his broadcasting career, Mike remained an advocate for clean play and skill-based hockey. He often spoke about how the game was evolving away from the violent culture he had challenged during his playing days. He took pride in seeing more skilled, smaller players finding success in the NHL, proving that his approach had helped change the sport for the better. Mike's broadcasting work also allowed him to mentor young players and share the lessons he had learned throughout his career. He emphasized the importance of dedication, practice, and staying true to your principles, even when others doubt you. His story of being overlooked in the draft and then proving everyone wrong became an inspiration for countless young hockey players who didn't fit the traditional mold. The final chapter of Mike's life began in 2019 when he started experiencing back and knee pain. These symptoms were initially misdiagnosed and treated as arthritis and an inflammatory disorder. This misdiagnosis would prove tragic. By the time doctors made the correct diagnosis in 2021, Mike had stage 4 lung cancer that had already spread throughout his body. In October 2021, he publicly announced his diagnosis in an open letter on TVA Sports website. Just 6 months later, on April 15, 2022, Mike Bossy passed away at age 65. But even in his final days, Mike found a way to help others. He encouraged his family to channel their anger and frustration about his late diagnosis into something positive. He told them to take that energy and do some good and help save other lives. This led to the creation of the Mike Bossy Memorial Fund, a French-language initiative partnering with Lung Cancer Canada. The fund addresses the stigma around lung cancer, raises awareness about early screening, and provides education for patients and doctors in Quebec. They want to create a pilot screening program where at-risk patients can get scanned every year, even without symptoms, hoping to catch the disease at a treatable stage. As his former teammate Brian Trottier said, Mike's legacy will no longer be just about his athletic achievements, but about his final act to champion championed early detection and early screening for lung cancer. Mike Bossy proved that traditional sports conventions could be redefined by superior talent and moral conviction. From an underestimated prodigy to the cornerstone of a dynasty, he built a legacy on efficiency, precision, and unwavering commitment to his beliefs. He challenged hockey's violent culture by showing that skill and courage could triumph over brute force. His statistical achievements, especially his unmatched goals per game average, cement his place among hockey's greatest players. While his early retirement due to injury created endless what-ifs, it also preserved his position as history's most efficient goal scorer. In the end, Mike's final act transcended sports entirely. A life devoted to scoring goals on ice culminated in a mission to save lives off ice. The Mike Bossy Memorial Fund ensures his name will be remembered not just for 4 Stanley Cups and 573 goals, but for a compassionate effort to bring awareness to a devastating disease. If this story moved you, please subscribe for more hockey legends and share your thoughts about Mike's incredible legacy in the comments below. His life reminds us that true greatness comes from staying true to your principles, even when the world tells you to change.